Hello everyone and welcome back to some more Shining Song Starnova with me, Phantom Zwei. When we last left off, there was a foreboding bit of narrative at the end of the New Year's gathering between Mika and Mr. Producer. It seemed like their greatest trial is about to begin. What could it be? Let's find out. The girls sighed as they sat gathered on the sofa. In the end, we totally lost track of them on Christmas Eve, huh? We ended up missing everything. What if they made out and went to a love hotel together? Does that mean there's gonna be little Mikas running around the office next year? Of course something like that didn't happen, you dumbass. Besides, the papers will be wanting our blood if they catch a whiff of a scandal like that. So it's just impossible. Could it be that somebody caught a photo of him leaving Mika's house or something? Well, I guess so. Just then, Mika arrived at the office. Ahem. Good morning, Mika-chan. Good morning, everyone. It's been a while since we saw you. The girls eyed Mika. The suspense palpable. Hey, did anything special happen over the holidays? Especially on Christmas Eve? Not much in particular. At Mika's words, all the girls' expectations deflated at once. Not in particular, eh? I should have seen this coming from a mile away. My, so she got rejected, eh? My, it was only expected. Well, of course, Mika-chan's devoted to being an idol, you know? Anyways, moving on from that. Today's the air date of the Black Opera live action. Or rather, Black Opera the live action. I'm going to stay late at the office with Producer-san to watch it together. What about you guys? So in the end, I guess Mika-chan cares more about her job than going out with the producer. I'm sure one day their feelings will connect, but for now, let's do our best. I'll do our best to be idols. Indeed, we've got to do our very best until graduation. No? Graduation? What? Anyways, let's all join Mika-chan and watch the first episode together. Of course, I'll be there as well. This is Mika-chan's big television debut, after all. I guess I can stay and watch for your sake. Yahoo! It's showtime! Oh, there you have it. We'll all come here and watch the grand opening together. Oh! After another day of hard work, the girls gathered before the television for the long-awaited moment. I sat down on the sofa with a bowl of snacks, trying to stay calm myself, but my heart was pounding in my neck just the same. This was Mika's big television debut. This was the culmination of all the hard work everyone had put into making the show a success. Just what form had all our sweat taken in the end? Sure is exciting. Too bad I'm not familiar with the manga. Well, me neither, to tell the truth. I hope it's not too hard to understand. Mika-chan and the producer sure worked hard on this, eh? It wasn't just us. Everyone on the production staff really poured their love into making this show. You could really tell how everyone was passionate about Black Opera. We owe it to all of them. Indeed, this masterpiece was made through everyone's collective hard work. You don't even know if it's going to be any good or not. Watch it suck hard. 7 pairs of angry eyes glared at our resident shit lolly. Aki-chan. Oh, oi, you. I'm just saying, you never know with these things. You gotta moderate your... Oh, it's starting. The tension in the room spiked. Mika's hands trembled as she stared at the screen, her eyes glued wide open. Don't worry, Mika. Everyone worked hard. It'll be alright. Uh-oh. The 8 of us stared at the screen in disbelief at the conclusion of the episode. Oi, what the hell was that? Everything looked so bad. All the costumes, all the makeup. It all looked like it could have been pulled from an amateur cosplay flick. And I never realized until now that Mika and Kyle completely lacked any kind of chemistry. Their delivery was all stilted, and they hardly seemed interested in each other. And, those special effects. They were beyond terrible. Complete rush jobs. Everything else might have been overlookable, but the effects seemed to be a bad joke. I was baffled beyond words. Everything had felt so good on set. But why did everything turn out so bad on the television screen? For a moment, I was convinced that this product was not the project everyone had bled the past months putting together, but another creation entirely. However, it was unmistakably Kyle and Mika in those scenes, and they were the lines they had all decided on. What the hell had happened? I was afraid something like this would happen. Well, maybe it's just because most of us don't know anything about black opera. Maybe the fans will still like it. It'd be nice if that was true, but... Julie was already scrolling through her cell. They've already began shitposting about it on the Chan. Suddenly, Mika's cell began vibrating nonstop as well. Mika picked it out of her pocket and opened it. Oi, don't look at that! Oi, Mika, are you okay? I snatched her cell phone away and looked at what was going on. Lol, the first episode was terrible. Is this even black opera anymore? It's shit. Typical. Hardly a second had passed and the trolls were already at it. I'll be keeping your cell for now, Mika. I don't think you can just do that, but anyway. Why did this happen? Everyone worked so hard on it. And yet, the result wasn't what I imagined at all. Ma, it's only the first episode, Mika-chan. Maybe the production quality improves later. Usually the first episode is what gets the majority of the budget, you know. Most likely, things are just gonna go downhill from here. Aki-chan, Mo! Oi, I ain't trying to shit on anything here. Just telling you how these things go most of the time. Oi, producer. I hate to join the chorus here, but you gotta admit, this job smelled fishy from the very beginning. I mean, they had to recast the main heroine at the last second, and then pushed everything through on a tiny budget and hardly any production time. Could it have been the production committee set us up to fail? Well, come on, big corporations don't make projects intending them to fail, you know. But suddenly, I was struck with an epiphany. It had actually been us who had dramatically increased the scope of the project, against the designs of the production committee, and yet our budget and schedules had remained constant. Could it be that we had bitten off more than we could chew? I'm going to get on the phone with Sato-san and Voltanis Productions first thing tomorrow. For now, let's heed Sasa-chan's advice. This is only the first episode. We still have 11 more to go. Meaning the battle's hardly been decided yet. We can still turn this around. Alright, but... Mika was slumped over on the sofa, covering her face with her hands. It was a failure. It was a failure. A failure. Sasami rubbed Mika's back. Well, whoops. My numerous calls to either Sato-san or Voltanis Productions yielded scant results. In the end, Sato was too busy dealing with the crisis on his end, while my contact at Voltanis gave me nothing but roundabout answers, and kept insisting on gauging the reception to the second episode before deciding on the next course of action. In the weekend, a week passed with no significant progress. Or in the end, man, I can't read. I sighed as I finished watching the second episode by myself. The special effects were somehow even worse now, and to be honest, the show had all the lightning camera work of my dad's home videos. As much as I hated to admit it, Mika and Kyle's acting was stiff all around too, with neither of them seeming comfortable with being on camera. And of course, the second wave of trolling on the internet came with the release of the second episode. Even those who had defended us and were telling people to wait and see the second episode and how it turned out. I totally butchered that. Even the people who had defended us and were telling people to wait and see the second episode had now turned. By now, there was so much filth on Mika's social media accounts that I had to completely forbid her from accessing any of it. Unbelievable. Just one bad show, and somehow every man, woman, and child in Japan had suddenly descended like vultures to pick Mika apart. God damn it. I was most angry at myself for not having seen this coming. All the red flags I had missed during our production. The bare bones budget, the rushed schedule, and even the things which I had thought were successes had in fact been disasters in disguise. The sudden changing of the show's direction midway through production, the staff rebelling against the production committee's vision, and most likely, even my stand-in due to Kyle's injury was most likely going to end up harming the quality of the production as well. All this time, we had been blissfully ignorant of all the ways we'd been screwing up. In the end, I was too inexperienced with the handling of big television show productions, and just didn't know any better. Mika. She hadn't been able to say much ever since the show's premiere. How was she doing right now? I didn't need much of an imagination to know she must be devastated. After all, she had been Black Opera's biggest fan out of everyone working on this. I had to do something. But what? For the first time in my life, I felt utterly helpless. In the end, I was just an idol producer. I wasn't on the production committee, nor was I the show's director. I pounded my fist on the table in frustration. Shit! Suddenly, my cell phone vibrated. What could it be now? My jaw dropped in horror when I opened my cell and saw its contents. This was... Despite having been forbidden from accessing her socials, Mika couldn't help but search for what was happening on her PC. Just how bad was it? Was it really a total disaster? What were they saying about her? Just a peek. It'll just be a peek. She went to her Chirper account. At Hashimoto Mika probably sucked on the director's dick to star in at Black Opera live action, lol. Hashimoto Mika ruined Black Opera forever. RIP. Childhood ruined. #. This brick can act better than at Hashimoto Mika. And yet, she couldn't tear her eyes away from the hundreds of insults she was receiving with each passing minute. In fact, the more she read them, the more she had to look for more. She read everyone's comments on the chan, sweat pouring down her face. Lol, Hashimoto Mika getting flamed for BO train wreck. I think she said anytime, or anime, man, I can't read. I heard she said anime was shit. Only did it for the sweet chuny cash. Corporate cash grab. Fuck all 3D girls. Probably got casted by becoming Sato's bitch. Mika's hand trembled in fury. Tears ran down Mika's cheeks, but she had to keep reading more. Her heart was bleeding, and she tried to tear her eyes away with all her might. She had to see. She had to see more. Why? Why did she have to see? She didn't know herself why, but she had to read every insult, every accusation, every slander. She ended up somewhere in the far corner of the internet, where she should have known better than to wander to in normal circumstances. Hey, so this idol bitch was apparently too good for Black Opera. Anyone have her info? Wow. Go rape her. Fuck yourself. 3D PD. She works for Shining Pro office. Info here. Docs, please. You'll probably find her when she shows up there. Good lord. Mika fell from her chair and trembled under the blanket. What was going on here? Why were people so angry at her? Suddenly, she heard someone pounding at her door. She wrapped herself in her blankets and squeezed her eyes shut. But the pounding continued. Finally, it stopped. Just as she thought she was safe, her window shattered with a shrill explosion. Mika's heart nearly exploded as she was sprayed with glass fragments. This is where the police get involved. Kyosuke wiped his brow as he typed furiously on his keyboard. Surely you cannot blame a show's production issues solely on a young idol who's never had such a big television role before. Yes, I admit many elements of the show can be improved, but this level of hate is exactly the sort of behavior which creates such a negative image for us idol otaku. In fact, as a newcomer, Hashimoto Mika-san should be praised for even landing such a big role. Her improvement in the past year has been nothing short of astounding, and yet all of you people are doing nothing but tearing down this young girl's dreams. Lol, Hashimoto circle jerk. Hashimoto has insulted us otaku, let us band together and cleanse the world of fake idols like her, who take our hard-earned money while sneering at us from the shadows. What are they talking about? Kyosuke left the message board and searched furiously through his news blotter. Finally, he found an article on an idol gossip blog. Production chaos. Idol threatens to walk off set of black opera drama. What's this? Hashimoto Mika, newly minted center of Starnova, reportedly refused to perform various scenes in the currently ongoing live-action adaptation of black opera, resulting in a production meltdown which required the rewriting and retaking of the show mid-production. Eh? Kyosuke read the article, his insides squirming. The article was just a bunch of unnamed sources, rumors, and talking heads who had no connection with the show, gossiping about how idols could get big heads and start refusing to perform scenes they considered below them. They were all basically making it sound like everything was Mika's fault. I just now noticed that he has the Natan posters on his wall. Most of the article was just guesswork and speculation, but all that mattered in the end was the damning headline. It's not as if anyone actually read the body of the article. They just looked at the hundreds of identical headlines propagating through the internet right now, and just formed whatever nonsense opinion came to mind from aggregating the headlines. Kyosuke pounded his keyboard in a rage. This is all bullshit! Yeah, I gave him this voice. Mika-chan didn't do anything wrong, and yet... Fuck! I shot out of my cab and sprinted towards Mika's apartment. The show bombing was one thing, now the tabloids were shitting on us too. At this rate, we had a full-on mob riot on our hands. Don't really think that's usually would happen, but okay, sure, let's run with it. These people are really into it. I had to secure Mika. No, I had to secure all the girls at safe houses. At this rate, as I ran through the streets, I nearly crashed into a hooded figure. Watch it! Sorry, but I didn't have time for niceties now. I kept running with all my might. My heart sank when I arrived at Mika's house and saw the entire neighborhood illuminated by red and blue police lights. Oh, no! Was I already too late? Had something horrible already happened? Mika! I had to get to her! Mika! A police officer turned around and blocked my path. Oi, you! This is a restricted... I'm a producer. What happened? What happened to Mika? Calm down. Producer-san. I turned around and saw Mika standing beside the police car. Relief washed over me at seeing her safe. Mika. Holy shit. I nearly thought... Producer-san. Mika ran into my arms and burst into tears. Someone threw a rock through my window. It had a note telling me to die. They already somehow know where I live. And that's not all. Everyone on the internet is saying the same things too. Why? Why did everything turn out like this? I'm sorry. Sometimes people lose their minds over the smallest things. Anyway, pack your things. I'm gonna get you out of here. Now that this location's been compromised, we're gonna have to get you to a hotel room until we can find a new place for you to live. But what about my things? I'll arrange for movers to box your belongings up. For now, just grab what you need. I'll get you booked in a hotel, straight away. Okay. With that, Mika ran back into her apartment and packed her belongings into a travel case. While she gathered her things, I dealt with the cop. By the time the policeman took some photographs of the property damage and gathered Mika's statement, the two of us got into a cab and left. Mika's shoulders trembled as she sniffled beside me. What's wrong with everyone? We all worked so hard to make this show a success. It all seemed so amazing when I was acting out those scenes. Why did everything come to this? Why has everyone gone crazy? Shh. None of this is your fault, Mika. Whenever the tabloids stir up a big fuss, everyone loses their minds for a few days, and then they just move on to the next big idol scandal. There are people who profiteer off manufacturing outrage like this, and everyone just bandwagons and says whatever nonsense happens to confirm their pre-existing beliefs. Honestly, the world's just a messed up place. People live completely disconnected from reality. Whatever version of reality they made in their heads is a whole lot easier to accept than looking at facts that don't conform to their beliefs. And that's just how the real world is. Reality really is shit. I never should have left my little hole. I should have never become an idol. I don't want to live in a shit world like this. Everyone else can just disappear. Mika. It's a contradiction, I know, but an idol needs to be powerful. People want cute little meek girls that they can raise like pets. But the reality is that to be an idol, you have to be stronger than the masses. An idol is... I don't care about any of that. I don't ever want to be an idol again. Mika. In the end, there wasn't anything more I could say. I was totally powerless. This was my fault. My job as Mika's producer was to ensure that she only got jobs which were going to help her career. I'd been too enamored with the prospect of giving Mika her grand television debut. So much so that I completely failed to recognize that this was a doomed production from the beginning. Shit. I had totally dropped the ball here. But I knew apologizing was going to be meaningless. After all, Mika's apartment had been vandalized, and now she was going to be locked up in a safe house. Meanwhile, her so-called fans were spewing nothing but filth, and the tabloids were tearing her apart. This was rock bottom. There was no way the situation could get any worse. However, the next day, I received a reminder that in the idol world, you can die multiple times in succession. Uh-oh. I somehow managed to drag Mika back to the set, but it was obvious that she was in no mood to work on the show. In fact, judging from the faces of the cast and staff, nobody had any more motivation to finish the production. Sato stood and addressed his workers with a guilty grin. Well, the response to our show's premiere certainly was quite a bombshell, wasn't it? Too bad it wasn't exactly the opposite reaction from what we were hoping for. Anyways, based on my conversations with the higher-ups, looks like they want us to continue with the production. But Sato-san, can we really go on? At this rate, we'll be in a lot of trouble here. Well, I do have some good news. The higher-ups are going to send us a fixer, who they say will turn the production around. Not only that, but we're going to be traveling for some on-location shooting, so they're going to turn it back into a TNA show, probably. Alright, looks like we're headed up to the mountains to shoot an onsen episode. Whew, just the kind of relaxation I need. It's just the way things are. To tell the truth, I figured the show would end up like this. There's no way you can just reshoot a show halfway through production. And the schedule was pretty much suicide from the get-go. You can't really make a production of this scale fueled by passion alone. Either this was going to be one of those quirky, late-night softcore porn shows, or no show at all. So here's basically what happened. A bunch of execs at Voltanis figured making a fan service show would have turned a profit and greenlit the production with a bare-bones budget. That way they were going to make bank with a cheap show that was going to introduce the IP to a bunch of drunk guys up late watching TV. That sort of thing happens all the time in this business. From the very beginning, there was no chance of us ever making anything decent out of any of this. But Sato-san, if you knew all that, then why did you just go along with changing the project's vision? You of all people knew that making an actual adaptation of Black Opera was impossible, but you still went along with what we were saying anyways. That? Listen to this. It really fired me up, you know? Actually seeing other guys aside from me passionate about what we do. Look, I've been making nothing but cheapo late-night nudies for over a decade now. Honestly, I'd accepted that I was never gonna get to make the stuff I want, but then you folks came along. Maybe it was this dirty old director's little rebellion after years of pent-up frustration. But look where it got us. Sorry, y'all. I'm getting you caught up in my own selfishness. But looks like the higher-ups are onto me now. Well, let's get this show made their ways and turn this around. After all, guys like their girly shows any day of the year. I'm sure once we go back to the original plan, the show's reception will improve. Understood. But judging from your faces, looks like none of you are in any condition to act right now. Let's break up for today. Come back tomorrow refreshed and prepared to make the rest of this project a success. With that, Sato closed the set for the day. We went our different ways, filled with the overwhelming sense of defeat. I returned to the office with Mika, only to see the other girls anxiously standing in front of our office. I ran over. Had more trouble happened? Immediately I saw it. Black Song is dead. Some scum had spray-painted those words over the windows to our dance studio. What's going on? This is... Idol fans really are the worst. I should have known this would have happened eventually. Everyone, let's not... Once Nemu finds the culprit... Everyone... I'm sorry you had to see that. I'll wipe it away right away. I'll help too. This is total nonsense. Behind us, Mika stared blankly at how our office had been defaced. Everyone, I'm sorry. She turned around and ran down the street. Mika! Producer-san, you got to go after her. In her current state, there's no telling what Mika-chan might do. Yeah, sorry guys. Don't worry. With that, I chased after Mika. But really, what are we gonna do? At this rate, Starnova itself is in trouble, you know? Aki brought out a bucket of soap water and sponges. Clean this filth up, that's what we're gonna do. She shoved the sponge into Julie's hand. Come on, move your hands. Seriously, this is unbelievable. Everyone freaking out by some dumb anime. Hey, the shit Loli's got a point for once. Come on, let's get this bull off our dance studio. Yeah! Mika ended up back in her old apartment. She managed to shake me off, and came here to check on her belongings. After all, her figurine and DVD collections were her entire world. She had to make sure it was all safe. To her relief, she opened her door to find everything untouched. She stared at the wall of figurines, DVDs, manga, games, and goods she had collected over the years. She loved it with all her heart, and yet, now seeing her things filled her with dread. And at the center of her collection was Sylvia Nightsong, proudly bearing her Heaven's Piston. Mika held it up and stared at it. Why? Why couldn't I become her? After I had promised everyone I wouldn't let them down. Her heart twitched as memories played in her head. Ma, we're just here to lend the Oh wait, she was a girl. Ma, we're just here to lend the characters our voices. It's the animators and the rest of the production staff who do most of the work. Honestly, we're indebted to all the hardworking people in this industry. Surely everyone must give their craft everything so we can all enjoy anime. I'll do my best as well. Even though I'm an idol, I want to give it my all to create entertainment that everyone can enjoy. Eh? Oh, you don't have to be so formal. It must have taken so much work, didn't it? I won't let you down. From now on, I'll do my best for Starnova's sake, so that we can all accomplish our dreams. Yeah, they're a pretty good way to promote both idols and the original IP, so talent agencies and publishing houses both have been coordinating more closely to create both feature-length feature-length films, and television series. This could be a pretty big job, though, so you should prepare yourself. It's most likely going to be a much bigger role than a single-line appearance this time. Understood. I won't let you down. In the end, I ended up disappointing everyone. Everyone must hate me now. I bet they all think I'm some sham. I believed in myself because I got a little popular. But in the end, I'm just a human failure. She suddenly felt a sharp pain run down her chest. Rape her till she squeals. Die. Night Song is dead. No, it's just like... Her hands trembled as tears splashed on her Night Song figurine. Black memories flashed of her high school days. Die, virgin otaku. Dirty otaku pussy. The world spun around her. Everyone was laughing at her. She should just kill herself. It's not like anyone would care. If she stopped existing, then she wouldn't have to deal with this anymore. But she was afraid of dying, too. After all, wouldn't that be painful? In the end, even killing herself was too difficult for a screw-up like her. She just ended up locking herself in this apartment and never going out during the day. She could just disappear in here. And here, nobody would yell at her anymore. Nobody would tell her she was useless. Nobody would expect anything out of her. She could just be herself. Her stomach twisted and turned. She had ruined the most precious thing in her life. When she had been down, Sylvia Night Song had kept her going. Mika had looked up to her heroic feats and her perseverance in the face of adversity. But now, Night Song had been forever stained with Mika's own incompetence. Her blood boiled at her own existence. What everyone was saying was true. It had all been her fault. If she just hadn't existed, the Night Song would still have been perfect. But a dirty virgin shit otaku like her had to just get a little cocky and foul her. In a fit of fury, Mika raised her prized Night Song figurine into the air and hurled it against the wall. In a massive explosion, it shattered into 100 pieces and scattered across the floor. Mika blinked in confusion. What had just happened? She stumbled over to where Night Song laid fallen on her floor. In disbelief, she crumpled to her knees and picked up Night Song's dismembered head. Her torso laid not far away, missing all of its limbs. A twisted, bent piece of plastic. Suddenly, realization rolled over Mika like a tidal wave. What had she done? What had she done? Her arms trembling, Mika scrambled on all fours, trying to gather all the missing pieces. She is freaking out, man. She tried to reattach the pieces. Maybe they were just ball joints. They had to just be disconnected ball joints. She whimpered in horror as she tried to put the broken pieces of warped plastic back together. Finally, the pieces fell from her hands. It was hopeless. She had done it. Night Song was dead. There was no way to revive her. Mika buried her face into the floor. She pounded the ground with her fist. She wailed into the floor, diving her fists into the floor again and again. She howled uncontrollably, ugly, unattractive, like an animal. In the end, there was nothing more she could do. She wasn't smart. She wasn't attractive. She wasn't good at anything. The only thing she ever did was just wreck everything she touched. The only thing someone like that could do was cry. I finally managed to find Mika at her old apartment. I entered, only to find a mess of DVDs and figurines scattered around the floor. What had happened? Mika! I found her curled up in a ball under one of the shelves. I let out a long sigh of relief. Thank goodness I found you. I looked everywhere for you, but I guess you were here all this time. What happened? Why is everything a huge mess? That's just the only thing I do, producer-san. Ruin things. Mika. No, it's not. Nobody else could have pulled off the things you've done. Now come on, let's get you out of here. With that, I hoisted Mika up into my arms and carried her into a cab. I put Mika down on the bed and gave her a cup of water. It's like nobody saw anything, but you've got to be careful. There are a lot of people who are following you now. Make sure not to do anything reckless, like running away on your own from now on. Okay. But I can definitely understand your feelings. The masses really have lost their minds over a tiny little thing, eh? Mika buried her face into her knees. Anyways, just one project turning out disappointing isn't the end of the world. Let's do our best to turn this around and restore the public's approval one way or another. You can rest up for today. Come back refreshed, and we can still recover from this. With that, I turned to leave. Mika grabbed onto the back of my coat. Don't leave. Mika? I want a pafu pafu. Oh, here you go. I turned around and lowered my hand onto her head. She shook me off. Closer. Mika. Producer-san. Producer-san's the only supporter I have left now. If he leaves me, then I don't know what'll happen. I gulped. Alright already. I had to do everything in my power to help Mika. If I kept rejecting her feelings, the situation was only going to get a lot worse. Alright. I sat down beside her on the bed and gave her hair a good rub. Closer. Mika scooted over and sat down on my lap. I want to feel Producer-san around me. I did as I was told and wrapped her in my arms. Oh, giggity giggity giggity. She really was a small little girl. There was hardly any meat on her bones, making me feel like I was holding onto a frail canary. Okay, I don't remember if I downloaded the erotic content that's optional, because this is the GOG version of the game, which originally didn't have any of that. I don't think I downloaded it, but I don't know. So, this is a thing that I'm going to be cutting. Alright. Okay, so we fade to black there. I don't think I can... I don't think I can put that on YouTube anyway, though. It was pretty racy, even though there was no full-on nudity. Okay, give me a second to hydrate. Alright, so you can't call Mr. Producer or Mika shit otaku versions anymore. Just shit otaku. Okay? Okay. And actually, with that, I just realized we're almost 40 minutes in. So, with that awkward note, that's where we're going to end today's episode. Alright. Well, thank you guys very much for watching. And I'll see you all next time.